Before we dive into today's movie story, I just want to let you know that this is a recap of the film, so there will be spoilers ahead. In Philadelphia, firefighter Cooper is taking his daughter, Riley, to a concert as a reward for her good grades. Outside the venue, they join a crowd of excited teenage girls, all waiting eagerly to catch a glimpse of the singer Lady Raven stepping off her tour bus. Once they enter the venue, Cooper notices a heavy police presence, with officers stationed everywhere. Determined to make it a memorable evening for Riley, Cooper records her joining a group of girls dancing and treats her to some snacks. Their conversation reveals a painful truth. Riley feels excluded by her peers at school. As they walk around the venue, Cooper's keen eye spots more police officers and an unusual number of security cameras. Finally, they settle into their seats and enjoy the opening band's performance, though Cooper can't shake the feeling of being watched. As the concert kicks off, the deafening screams force Cooper to cover his ears. After enduring a few songs, he excuses himself to relieve himself. He heads to the bathroom and discreetly uses his phone to access a live security camera feed. The shocking truth emerges. Cooper is a serial killer known as the Butcher, and he's checking on his latest captive, Spencer, who's being held in a concealed room within one of his secret hideouts. After washing his hands, Cooper hallucinates, seeing his mother standing beside him. He exits the bathroom but is intercepted by Jody's mom, who promises her daughter will try harder to include Riley in school activities. Cooper barely acknowledges her, returning to his seat in time to hear Lady Raven speak about losing her father and how she learned to move forward. She asks the audience to light up their phones, creating a dazzling sea of lights as she plays the piano. In the middle of the performance, Cooper notices the police dragging a man from the crowd. Officers are also closing in behind him. During the intermission, Cooper and Riley head to a merchandise stand to buy a t-shirt, but Riley's size is unavailable. The seller Jamie promises there are more coming, and Cooper uses the chance to ask about the cops. Jamie says it's supposed a secret but shares it anyway. The police has learned that the serial killer known as the Butcher would be at the concert, so they came to find him. Every person that leaves is being checked, and all the exits except for the backstage are being watched. Cooper laughs awkwardly, because he's the Butcher. Afterward, he drags Riley through the venue while pretending he wants a snack, when actually he's checking the exits and confirming that they're all blocked by cops. To create a diversion, he subtly nudges a drunken woman near the stairs, causing her to fall. The commotion pulls officers away from the entrance, and Cooper attempts to slip out, only to find even more police stationed outside. Cooper returns to the concert with Riley. Lady Raven announces a special guest, and the ground opens to reveal a platform rising with another performer. Cooper fixates on the hatch, imagining an escape route, and casually suggests to Riley that they sneak in to see where it leads. Riley, however, calls him out on his strange behavior, forcing him to stay put and watch with frustration as the hatch closes. Then Cooper goes back to the t-shirt stand and finds Jamie on his way to the supply room, so he comes along. He notices Jamie using a key card to access the room, so when they're inside, he pretends to help him move the boxes to steal it. The topic of the Butcher comes up and Jamie admits he's been obsessively following the case. He even has some pictures of the victims chopped up in his phone. All the employees got special training for today, and even password to identify them, which is Hamilton. After finally getting the t-shirt, Cooper sneaks in the employees' break room with Jamie's keycard. The cops are there going over the information they have, and they agree that if they find the Butcher, they must take him away from civilians. Cooper hangs Jamie's card on his jacket to pretend to be an employee and goes through the group to reach the snack table, so he can hear them better. Nearby, there's a picture of his latest crime scene. When an officer asks for sugar, Cooper quickly hands it over, acting helpful and friendly. As he leaves the room, he swipes a police radio from an unattended bag. In the hallway, Cooper is once again intercepted by Jody's mom, who angrily confronts him for ignoring her earlier. Their heated exchange catches the attention of two officers, but they're interrupted when they hear a man scream. The two officers rush to the entrance where other cops are arresting the man. This time, Cooper also notices Josephine among them. Back on his seat, Cooper discreetly puts on an earbud and listens to the police radio, learning they've already confirmed that the man they arrested was the wrong guy. He was just a thief that panicked because he thought the cops were there for him. Meanwhile, officers begin moving through the crowd, looking for another suspect. Cooper listens carefully to the descriptions being broadcast, one of which matches him. White male, 30s, with an animal tattoo on his right arm. Thinking quickly, Cooper steals a bracelet from a girl's bag to cover the tattoo. Checking the venue map on his phone, Cooper tells Riley he needs to go back to the t-shirt stand to retrieve a forgotten credit card. Once away, he hears on the radio that the FBI is setting up barricades and tents outside the building, tightening security even further. Considering his options, Cooper thinks about pulling the fire alarm but spots a security camera aimed directly at it. To make matters worse, he hears Josephine on the radio, predicting that he might try the alarm. Abandoning that plan, he sneaks into the burger stand and sabotages the fryer. After leaving, an employee notices 2 bottles floating in the hot oil. Moments later, the bottles explode, causing chaos. Screams erupt as customers panic, drawing the attention of nearby officers. While everyone is distracted by the chaos in the kitchen, Cooper seizes the opportunity to steal an apron and slips it on as he makes his way to the roof. There, he encounters more police officers. Thinking quickly, Cooper tells them he needed some air after the fryer explosion. The officers confirm his story over the radio but still ask him for the code. Cooper confidently replies, Hamilton. However, they also request his identification card. Fortunately, he finds a wallet in the apron pocket containing a venue ID card, which satisfies their suspicions. Before leaving, he asks them about Josephine. The officers explain she's a profiler renowned for catching several high-profile serial killers. As he heads back downstairs, Cooper notices the injured kitchen worker with severe burns, accompanied by a hallucination of his mother standing beside her. Shaking off the vision, he reunites with Riley, who is visibly worried about his odd behavior. Cooper explains that Jody's mom cornered him again, but Riley reassures him not to worry about her classmates. She happily shares that she's made friends with the girls sitting next to her. They return to their seats just as Riley eagerly explains that this is the part of the concert where Lady Raven picks a fan from the audience to come on stage and even visit the backstage. Spotting an opportunity to escape, Cooper approaches one of the crowd handlers and concocts a story about Riley having recently recovered from leukemia, with Lady Raven being her inspiration. Meanwhile, he notices the police drawing closer to his spot. His plan works, and Riley is chosen to go on stage. Both father and daughter are given backstage passes, and the handler convinces a nearby officer to let them through. Riley, though nervous, musters her courage and steps onto the stage when Raven calls her. Cooper watches his daughter's happiness, trying to focus on her joy despite the presence of officers swarming the area. In the crowd, Jody and her mother glare, clearly upset that Riley was chosen. After Raven finishes her song, Cooper notices a girl in the crowd collapsing. Without hesitation, he picks her up and asks the event staff for a place where she can rest. They guide him backstage, conveniently helping him avoid Josephine, who is scanning the area. Backstage, Cooper comforts the sick girl, giving her some juice to help her recover. The concert manager is deeply grateful for his assistance and rewards him by letting him and Riley watch the final part of the concert from next to the stage. Seizing the moment, Cooper asks if they can leave through the backstage door to avoid the crowd at the end of the show. The manager agrees, unknowingly giving Cooper the perfect escape route. After the concert ends, Cooper listens in on the police radio and learns that every male attendee is going to be checked on their way out. When he tries to leave through the backstage door with Riley, he discovers it's blocked by police as well. Nearby, he overhears Josephine talking to Lady Raven, revealing that cameras throughout the venue have captured images and data of everyone who attended. Desperation sets in, and Cooper approaches Raven under the guise of discussing Riley's condition. In private, inside Raven's dressing room, Cooper drops his facade. He admits he's the butcher and shows her a live feed on his phone of Spencer, trapped in a cell. He reveals a button that would release carbon monoxide into the room, killing Spencer instantly. Cooper tells Raven that if she cooperates, he will spare Spencer. Shaken but composed, Raven agrees. She informs the police that Cooper and Riley are leaving the venue with her in her limousine, allowing them to bypass the security checks. At the main entrance, Josephine anxiously observes the crowd delays caused by the searches, but grows increasingly frustrated with the lack of results. In the limousine, Cooper instructs the driver to drop them off where he left his car. However, Raven turns to Riley and asks if she can visit their home instead. Overwhelmed with excitement, Riley calls her mom for permission, leaving Cooper no choice but to smile and give the driver his home address. When they arrive, Cooper's wife Rachel and their other child warmly greet Raven and Riley. Inside, Cooper quietly reminds Raven of his earlier threat. Spencer will die if she tries anything. Over coffee and cake, Rachel enthusiastically asks Raven about the concert. Raven explains the police operation, sharing how the FBI discovered a receipt for a concert ticket in one of the butcher's fake houses. This led them to coordinate with her for the sting. Raven also discusses Josephine's psychological profile of the butcher, a white man in his 30s or early 40s, likely in a position of authority, possibly obsessive-compulsive given his preference for a dark car, and with a traumatic relationship with his mother. Every detail strikes uncomfortably close to home for Cooper, who forces a smile while trying to change the subject. He points out that it's getting late, but Raven offers to play a song on the family piano. She invites Riley to sit beside her and uses the opportunity to stealthily take Riley's phone. After the song, Raven suggests they take a selfie. When Riley searches for her phone, Raven suggests using Cooper's and takes it from him. After snapping the photo, Raven asks to use the bathroom. Once inside, she locks the door and quickly begins investigating the phones, racing against time to find evidence that could expose Cooper. Cooper begins pounding furiously on the locked bathroom door. Inside, Raven works quickly, accessing Cooper's unlocked phone and connecting with Spencer. She asks him for details about his surroundings. Spencer mentions a distinctive green door and a statue of an angel nearby. With this information, Raven starts a live stream on her own phone, broadcasting the details to her followers. Before long, a viewer recognizes the description and sends the information to the police. Raven also texts her driver, still outside, instructing him to alert the authorities as well. Just as Raven checks Cooper's phone again, it locks, preventing further access. Desperate, she yells out that Cooper is the butcher. She hears unsettling noises and screams from the other side of the door. Suddenly, it bursts open, revealing a panicked and sweating Cooper. He snatches his phone and immediately checks on Spencer, only to discover the cell is empty. Spencer has escaped. Furious and unraveling, Cooper drags Raven to the garage. He grabs his crime bag and forces Raven into Rachel's car, deliberately avoiding his own dark vehicle, remembering Josephine's profile. Raven tries to reason with him, adopting a motherly tone and language to manipulate his psyche. However, Cooper doesn't fall for it. Coldly, he declares that killing Raven will be his final act as the butcher before he ends his own life, believing this will stop the monster. As Cooper opens the garage door to make his escape, he's shocked to find Rachel and the children blocking the exit. He had locked them in Riley's room, but he forgot about the window and the tree they could use to climb down. Paralyzed by the collision of his two worlds, Cooper hesitates, giving Raven a chance to bolt from the car. At that moment, police vehicles swarm the scene. Officers escort Rachel and the children to safety while Cooper retreats into the house. Raven is taken to her limo, where she finds that the driver has been replaced by a police officer for her protection. Moments later, the police raid the house, only to find the tunnel leading to the neighbor's yard. The limo suddenly stops, and the police officer posing as the driver steps out to the back seat. He handcuffs Raven to a metal bar, revealing himself as Cooper in disguise. Having escaped the house wearing a stolen police uniform, Cooper now plans to take Raven to one of his secret hideouts to kill her, confessing that he's felt compelled to do so since seeing her on stage. As the limo stops at a red light, Raven lowers the window and screams for help, urging bystanders to call the police. A crowd quickly gathers, surrounding the vehicle and preventing it from moving. Meanwhile, Raven struggles against her handcuffs and manages to rip the bar loose. She bursts out of the limo just as police cars arrive, causing the crowd to scatter in fear. The officers fire at the vehicle, riddling it with bullets, but upon inspection, they find it empty. Cooper has slipped away again, having donned a hoodie and blended into the panicked crowd. After Raven is taken to one of Cooper's crime houses, she expresses gratitude to her fans for identifying its location, enabling Spencer's rescue. She checks on Spencer, ensuring he is safe and being cared for by authorities. Meanwhile, Rachel returns to her home after dropping their kids off at her sister's house. Josephine advises her to stay in hiding, fearing for her safety, but Rachel insists on staying to confront the aftermath. Josephine reluctantly assigns officers to guard the property and departs. Alone in the house, Rachel reviews security footage of Spencer's kidnapping, a chilling reminder of her husband's double life. While making tea, she is suddenly startled to find Cooper, who has sneaked in undetected. He confronts her, convinced she betrayed him. Cornered, Rachel admits it. Weeks ago, she began suspecting Cooper of infidelity, but the truth turned out to be much darker. She recalls the unsettling smell of hospital-grade cleaning fluid on his clothes and his chillingly convincing lies to neighbors. Her suspicions led her to follow Cooper to one of his secret houses, where she left the concert ticket receipt as a calculated clue before anonymously alerting the police. Enraged, Cooper removes his shirt, claiming it reeks, and grabs a knife. Sensing danger, Rachel defuses the situation by reminding him of Riley's pie, meant to celebrate her success. Cooper agrees to eat after seeing Rachel take a bite, believing her compliance. As he eats, Cooper explains his twisted logic, stating that killing usually brings him peace, but Rachel's betrayal fills him with anger, making her his next target before his planned self-destruction. Suddenly, Cooper grows dizzy and realizes Rachel has drugged the pie using sedatives from his crime bag. Disoriented, he stumbles and begins hallucinating, seeing his mother at the door, calling him a monster. Cooper collapses in tears, trying to reach her apparition, only for the cops to surround him and tase him. A furious Cooper jumps on an officer to knock him out, but before he can go for the other one, Josephine joins with another taser and they successfully bring him down. When a handcuffed Cooper is dragged out of the house, he asks for a second to pick up Riley's fallen bicycle. At that moment, the cops bring the kids back and Riley hugs her dad before he's taken away. In the back of the police truck, Cooper reveals he stole a spoke from the bicycle and now uses it to pick his handcuffs off while laughing. Later, Jamie sees Cooper's face on the news and freaks out because he helped a criminal. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. If there's anything specific you'd like to see in future videos, feel free to drop your suggestions in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
See you next time.